Let's dive into what you can do to craft a rockin' talk. We're gonna start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. Okay, seriously though, this is where most people already go wrong, so let's focus in. One thing you'll learn if you study memory training is that the mind, and more specifically your memory, naturally remembers the very first thing and the very last thing that it hears. It's kind of like when your partner or spouse rattles off a list of things for you to add to the grocery list as you're running out the door, and they're like, oh yeah, don't forget the sparkling water, tissues, rice, black beans, and Rice Krispie treats. And then you get to the store and you're like, sparkling water and Rice Krispie treats, which happen to be two things I love, but that's besides the point. The point is that since people remember the first and last thing, we do not want you to use your first moments on stage as a warm-up. We've all seen the guy or gal who starts talking and they're shuffling papers and sifting through their flashcards, trying to get them in the right order, stammering and stumbling around the first 5 minutes of their talk, and then they finally get in the groove. The challenge is that you've already lost people by then. And especially in today's world, you need to grab them from the get-go. The goal of your introduction is to create a connection between you and the audience. So, number 1, dress in alignment with your brand personality. Number 2, hit the stage with your rally song. And again, I gave that to you inside your brand personality blueprint. And of course, you're free to come up with a song of your own. And number 3, know exactly what you want to say first and practice it so that you're confident and ready when you hit the stage or step to the front of the room. Number 4, make a case for your topic that you and your topic are very worth listening to. Next, you want to share your personal story, and it's important to share your own path from struggling to success and to be willing to be a little vulnerable on stage because it will help build a bridge between you and your audience. I often share about when my son was born and how we had this very high-risk pregnancy and how doctors even told us we shouldn't have our son. Now, yesterday was his birthday, and today he's 8 years old. But back then, when he was growing in my belly, he was causing a whole lot of drama. And I share the story because between tests and biopsies and me being on bed rest in the hospital and his stay in the neonatal intensive care unit, we were left with a huge stack of medical bills. And of course, I was at home, not working, no maternity pay, and we were in a really tough financial position. And it's that position that gave me the courage to give my very first talk on my own for my own company. And I booked that talk with a local networking group. I spoke to them in the middle of a restaurant. I spoke to 40 people, and when I asked how many would like to come back to attend a full-day workshop, 30 people said yes and bought a ticket for just $100. So I walked in there flat broke, and I left with $3,000. And that day, I was totally sold on speaking. I had had fun, I had provided great free content for this networking group, and I left with new clients. So I share that story a lot because it's how I started. And it's important for people to know that my talks didn't always generate 10K, 50K, 100K paydays. It's important because if you don't know that I started at the beginning, you might not think it's okay for you to start at the beginning, right? So I need to be willing to share what it was like before when we were broke and I had a new baby at home and I was only working 3 days a week. I share what happened, which is that I gave a talk that created income and impact. What it's like now. Now I've sold over $1 million single-handedly for my talks, and I get to teach other people how to do the same. In a clarifying statement here, you do not need to, nor should you tell your story that ends with you like in a big ugly cry. You want to tell your story from a place of strength, a place of having already moved through whatever challenge you moved through. So while some part of your story may be personal and it may have an emotional component to it, like mine, and it often does get me a little teared up, please share it from an energy and a place where you are today as a leader. The gathering question. Now, this is a question that when asked to your audience 2 different ways, gathers the room. For example, how many of you have no experience speaking? Okay, great. And how many of you have already given a talk for your business? Nice. Well, either way, you'll learn something today because I'll be sharing some of my best secrets for successfully attracting more business with speaking. It will fast track you if you're getting started and up level you if you've already hit the stage. So you see, this is a simple and important moment. It gets the room to pull together, it gets them interacting with you. And if you can get a room to play with you and interact, you can have an impact. And if you can have an impact, you can generate income with your message. The wow demo. A wow demo, if we want to be crude, you could call it an attention getter. And now I don't mean this is where you drink too much, wear sexy clothes, and hang on audience members. It's not that kind of attention getter. This is the kind that gives you your best assurance that everyone in the room now gets it. They get that this is an important topic, it's relevant to them, it's worth sitting up, and they better pay attention. So ideas for attention getters are startling statistics, a shocking picture, a story or allegory, or a quiz or assessment, which is a very straightforward way of helping people see where they might have gaps and therefore how your topic could help them. By now, you have a really strong opening to your talk. You look on brand, your song played, you connected with the audience through your story, you got everyone interacting with your question, and you even got them sitting up and paying attention with your wow demo. Now you're ready to get into the main content. The main content. Now, inside the Rock Your Talk program, I'm going to show you how to organize your content, all the stuff you know, into modules or keys or steps. And those steps are going to get plugged in right here. But even without going through that exercise, you can probably think of the most important things you need to teach people on your topic. The stuff that they are really excited to know. Now, this is where people get a little crazy and they start teaching everything they know. And let me be honest, and I'll be a little vulnerable here myself, I tend to overteach too. There are people who come to our Rise Live event and don't decide to work with me and still keep their workbook and treat it as a Bible for the next year. So I do bring the content. But in your talk, remember, you must be sure to stay on track and on time. So your talk is not the place to teach every essential, boring, nuts and bolts part of what you do. It's also not the proper place to dive so deep in detailed training because you will lose people and probably confuse them. And remember, we're here to add impact and serve the room. Instead, your talk's job is to show people what's possible, to give them a bit of success, that's the stuff they learn in your talk, and show them where they can go next. That's your offer. So stick with the most important, critical things you can teach that people get most excited about knowing. Hot tip here, be sure that your last tip or teaching point is the best one because it will be the last thing people hear before you invite them to work with you. So we want to make sure it is hot, rockin' content. Next, you're going to open people up to your offer. And if you're worried that this is where everything changes and you start selling, hear me out here. If you follow the Rock Your Talk system, most of the people who want to work with you are already in. They're just waiting to hear what to do next. Everything you've done so far has set the stage for you. So you're connected, the room's been interacting with you. That's something we go into further in the program, and they are ready to rock. So here's what you're going to do. Tell them what you gave them so far. That's known in presentation skills as tell them what you told them. Then tell them what they still need. And this is the part most people often skip. The offer. Next, you're going to invite your audience to get that thing they still need inside your program. Show them what's possible and how your program will give them the results they really want. Now, the offer has several steps inside of it, but let me just tell you the most important one right now. This is not the time to talk about each and every component of your program. You will not inspire people by telling them that each core module is 30 minutes long. And even though you may intellectually get what I'm saying, many of you will still feel tempted to do this when it comes time to make your offer. So don't sell me the components of your program. Sell me on the results each component will give me, because that's what people really want. Next is your instructions. This is really part of the offer, but I've seen so many people forget it. I made it its own step. Be sure you tell people how to say yes to your offer and give them a way to say yes right then and there. And we go deeper into why this is inside of the Rock Your Talk program, but know this. The best moment you have to serve someone who's with you right then and there is to do it right then and there. So do yourself a favor and your audience. Encourage everyone who's ready to go ahead and rock it out with you right there. The rally. Now remember that people remember the first and last thing they hear. So we don't want to end your talk on a practical note of instructing people on how to enroll. And if you remember back in video 2, I share with you that people buy on emotion, backed by facts, but not just facts alone. So we want to anchor back to emotion now, and the emotion that best supports a transformation for the room. So ask yourself, how does your audience want to feel? And what is your wish for them? And sharing this at the end of your talk will give an inspirational and motivational feel to the ending of your talk, assuring that people who don't buy will leave loving your talk, and people who are ready to buy will get some rockin' results saying yes right then and there. So this is the template for your one super rockin' talk. And I know we've covered a lot and I've been talking fast, and I want to remind you that you don't need to know it all. And you don't have to have it all nailed, every section of this immediately today. So I always say that the perfect person and the perfect business and the perfect talk, they're all a big fat lie. A lie that if you tell yourself will keep you from doing what you're here to do. So accept, know, even go so far as to enjoy that this is a perfectly imperfect process. It has been proven time and again, not just by me and my clients, but every other leader you know, that you don't have to be perfect to be super rockin' successful. One of the things I give my clients at every level is a video example of myself rocking my talk, and it's from my colleague Monica Shaw's first live event. So I'm guessing that she was nervous. It was my first time speaking on a main stage at a live event in this industry, and I was really, really nervous too. Probably even more nervous than Monica, and it was her event. Anyway, I give my clients the complete unedited video of the talk, meaning you can watch the talk exactly how it happened that day. And you'll see I was nervous. You'll see it was not a perfect talk. And you'll also see that I follow this exact Rock and Talk program and the template I just gave you. And lo and behold, when I make the offer, you will hear the pandemonium that broke loose as people rushed across the room to join the program. Your audience does not require your perfection. In fact, they will often find your humanity endearing, and it can bring you closer to an audience. What they do need in order to be served at a really high level is to connect with you, and to understand, and to connect with the content, and to clearly get why they would want to move forward with you. So, a good strategy, simply following the 5 keys to rock your talk, will get you the results you want, even without the perfection. The system I'm teaching you is the structure you can rely on to support you and hold you up when you get nervous or you worry that you won't get the results you're hoping for. You can rest easy. It's exactly how a nervous Nelly like me went from never speaking to 1K and 3K paydays to 10K, 30, 50, even 100K paydays from one talk. The talk was never perfect, but I did go through each of the 5 keys to rock your talk. Rockstar rule number 1, to see big results, strategy, plus the connection you create is what gives you the impact and income you want. Number 2, you want a home base. Remember when you were a kid and you'd play tag or something? And no shocker, I was always terrified playing tag. I mean, to me, it really felt like life or death. So I loved it when we created a home base, and that was that safe place that you could return to anytime, a place where you couldn't get tagged, right? So let's be sure you have a home base to come home to, a safe place where you can be yourself and get the encouragement you need to put yourself out there. And we've already started to create a group right here with all of you who have opted into this content and shared it with friends and been so kind as to like the videos and write in and thank me and leave comments. It's awesome. And I can't wait to keep the party going. Number 3 is support, because if you're going to rely on a good strategy and a good connection, you want the proper guidance to make sure you're on the right path and you're implementing the right strategies the way they were intended. And I hope that you'll consider me as someone who can help you do that. I'm getting ready to release my new Rock Your Talk program, as you've likely noticed, and I'll be sending out a special message as soon as the doors are open. So if you want to come join me and rock your talk, please be sure to keep your eyes peeled. We'll do our best to accommodate as many people as possible. But there's always something special I do just for those first few people who know you want to work with me. So here's how this will work. First, you're going to get an email inviting you to join me for the Rock Your Talk live training, and I'll personally show you how to use all 5 keys of the program and how each key amplifies the next, helping you turn your personality and your expertise into a talk that will boost your biz. You'll get an email soon when we open the doors to the program, and so if you know you want to join me, you can say yes right away. I'm Kristin Thompson. Keep on rocking your talk.
We're so excited to get started. Thank you so much, Kristin. If you're looking to grow your business, you want to rock your talk and make a ton more money so you can do good in the world with it, you gotta be here.